The ocean.
A vast, shadowy realm covering more than 70% of our blue planet. Yet, what we know of it is merely a drop in an endless expanse. As we leave the warmth of the sun behind and dive beneath the breaking waves, the emerald green fades into deep indigo and finally into absolute blackness. At these depths, the water pressure weighs heavily on every object and the temperature plummets to a bone-chilling cold. It is a harsh environment that seems unforgiving to life. And yet, within this eternal silence and freezing void, life flourishes, fierce, resilient, and shrouded in mystery. Welcome to the kingdom of the rocky reefs, ancient cities on the ocean floor where time seems to stand still. And ruling over these stone fortresses is a creature of bizarre appearance, a living witness to the history of evolution, the lobster. Look closely at that dark cavern. It is not merely a lifeless crevice, but a heavily guarded castle. Its master is present. First, two long, slender antennae emerge, extending like radio antennas, gently sweeping the water, sensing the slightest vibration of the currents. Next, the massive claws reveal themselves, scarred and rugged, like two heavy steel gates barring the entrance. As our light reveals him, the giant is fully exposed. A perfect biological machine, encased in thick, chitinous armor. Upon this shell are patches of color that blend seamlessly with rock, moss, and coral, a masterful camouflage woven by nature over millions of years. The black compound eyes, perched on flexible stalks, may not see the vibrant colors we do, but in this murky darkness, they are supreme infrared cameras, detecting movements invisible to the naked eye. The lobster is a creature of solitude. They do not live in noisy schools, nor do they migrate in swarming crowds. Each individual is a king in his own territory, a lone warrior defending his stone fortress against the prying eyes of the deep.
By day, they retreat,
Motionless as a rock, conserving energy and waiting. For their world, their true kingdom, only awakens when the sun goes down. As the final rays of sunlight are extinguished on the surface, the rhythm of the ocean shifts. The colorful fish seek shelter, surrendering the stage to the phantoms of the night. Deep within the cave, an empty stomach begins to rumble, awakening the primal hunting instincts of our lobster. He emerges slowly. 10 legs, divided into specialized pairs, coordinate with the precision of complex machinery. He does not swim gracefully like a fish. He marches with a grim determination, gripping the ocean floor, cutting an imposing, steady figure. Tonight, he faces a long march. A mature lobster can walk for miles across the seabed every night. Driven by the singular need for sustenance. In the pitch black, His eyes are no longer his primary guide. Instead, he relies on a superhuman sense of smell. Tiny hairs on his antennae and legs act as master chemists, analyzing every molecule of scent drifting in the water. The decay of a fish hundreds of meters away, the metallic tang of a wounded snail, or the distinct signature of a bed of sea worms. All appear vividly on the map of his mind. We often call lobsters the janitors of the ocean, but that title fails to capture their versatility. They are opportunists, patient hunters, and sometimes bold raiders. There, his antennae vibrate violently. He has locked onto a target. A rock crab is attempting to camouflage itself under a layer of fine sand. The crab lies motionless, holding its breath, hoping its armor and the color of the sand will deceive the enemy. But it is mistaken. To the lobster, the crab is emitting a scent that is impossible to ignore. The attack is lightning fast. The lobster lunges, using the overwhelming power of his claws to subdue the prey. Observe these claws closely. One is large and blunt, the crusher used to pulverize hard shells. The other is smaller and razor-sharp, the cutter used to tear flesh. The sound of shattering crab shell crunches through the water, fading into the ambient noise of the undercurrents. The feast begins. The lobster eats deliberately, methodically, leaving not a single scrap behind. In the resource-scarce world of the deep, waste is a crime. But the laws of the ocean are cruel. Any hunter can become prey in the blink of an eye. Intoxicated by his meal, our lobster has made a mistake. He has ventured too far from the safety of the reef, straying into the open sands, an area known to crustaceans as the zone of death. No caves, no cover, just exposed vulnerability. And from the shadows, the ultimate danger emerges. A master of camouflage, a superior intellect of the seas, the octopus. If the lobster is the embodiment of brute strength and armored plating, the octopus is the embodiment of fluidity and cunning. It has no bones. It can shapeshift into any form and change the color of its skin to match the environment in a split second. The octopus glides forward, silent as a wisp of toxic smoke. 8 tentacles, lined with suckers, reach out like a heavenly net, slowly closing the circle. The lobster senses the presence of the reaper. He immediately shifts to a defensive stance, claws raised high, pointed toward the enemy, his entire body tense. It is a duel between a heavy-armored knight and a nimble assassin of the night. The octopus strikes, tentacles wrapped tightly around the lobster's shell, seeking to flip the prey over to attack the soft underbelly, or to use its parrot-like beak to drill through the head's armor. The lobster clamps its claws down, trying to sever the slimy arms constricting him. The struggle is violent, kicking up a blinding cloud of sand and silt. In a moment of life and death, hanging by a thread, and with his strength fading against a superior foe, the lobster is forced to use his final escape card. He violently snaps his massive muscular tail beneath his abdomen. Whoosh! the legendary tail flip. Using the principle of jet propulsion, this strike generates immense force, shooting the lobster's body backward at speeds of up to 5 meters per second. A leap across space, leaving the enemy bewildered in a cloud of dust. But the price of escape is not cheap. In the chaos, one of his legs has been ensnared by the octopus. Instead of being dragged back, the lobster's body activates a mechanism called autotomy. Snap! He voluntarily breaks the joint of his own leg, leaving a part of his body behind as a sacrifice to the enemy. Painful, crippled, but alive. He retreats rapidly into the darkness, vanishing before the octopus can regain its bearings.
A victory for survival.
Paid for in flesh and blood. Returning to the safety of his cave, the lobster lies panting. The wound where the leg was lost will soon seal. And then, nature's miracle begins. From that scar, a small, pale bud will emerge, growing larger with time. After a few molts, a new leg will be perfectly formed, as if the separation never happened. But speaking of molting, that is the true gauntlet, the most terrifying milestone in a lobster's life. We often think of the hard shell as an advantage, but it is also a rigid cage that imprisons growth. To grow, the lobster must shatter that cage. When the time comes, his body releases special hormones that soften the connective joints. Inside the old shell, a new soft skin is forming. The process of molting begins like a nightmare. He must contract his entire body, withdrawing every slender antenna, every massive leg out of the hard shell, like trying to pull your arm out of a steel gauntlet that has been welded shut. He writhes and struggles for hours, pouring every ounce of his life force into his own prison break. The moment he slides out of the old husk, he is utterly exhausted. At this stage, the armored king is as soft as jelly, weaker and more fragile than ever before. If a small fish were to find him now, it would be over. He must lie motionless in the deep cave, waiting for the calcium in the seawater to absorb into his body, turning that new skin into steel once more. And it is precisely during this fragile, vulnerable window that love blooms. Only when the female sheds her armor can she accept the male. A fleeting moment of intimacy occurs, gentle and profound, just before their shells harden, locking their hearts back into their inherent solitude. Millions of eggs will be cradled beneath the mother's tail for months, nurtured and fanned with oxygen. Then, on a moonlit night, tens of thousands of tiny larvae will be released into the vast ocean, beginning a drifting journey full of peril. Most will become food for other fish. Only 1 in a million will survive, settling on the seafloor to find a burrow and begin the journey of a new warrior. Back to our protagonist. Now his new armor is hard, larger, and sleeker. The lost leg has returned. He stands once again at the mouth of his cave, his long antennae swaying proudly in the dark. Scientists say that lobsters do not age in the biological sense. If not for disease or predators, they could technically live and grow forever. They are the immortals of the deep, living witnesses of time. Every scar on their shell is a story. Every molt is a rebirth. Beneath the deep, cold ocean, the life of the lobster continues, a silent, enduring, and magnificent epic, reminding us of the extraordinary power of life on this planet.